Hello everyone, this is for section 2.3 for Algebra 2. First thing you guys are going to be doing is graphing, and the first thing that you're always going to put when you have a slope, and this is again a reminder, B, because I'm going to write the standard form, I guess, or the slope-intercept form, I should say, not standard form, is that this is the slope, back up a P, and this is the y-intercept, and this is the y-axis. This is the x-axis. So a y-intercept is where you graph is crossing the y-axis. Start by graphing the y-intercept. It's supposed to be a check mark. So the y-intercept is 4, so you go up to 4 and you put a dot. From there you do your slope. And remember, slope is rise over run. So from there you're going to rise 1, run 2. Rise 1, run 2. And that's going to make your line. Trying this one, the y-intercept is -1. So again, you're on your y-axis, that's your y-intercept. Y, it's a B, as in y, it's a B. I have no idea. Same thing with slope. Y is it an M rather than S? No idea. But you just have to memorize that B is your y-intercept. So y-intercept is -1, slope -3/2. Now this you have to remember some basic fraction sense. So, let's see. If you were to put the negative upstairs over 2, that's still a -3/2. If you put the negative downstairs, that's still a -3/2. There's only one negative. If you put it in both places, remember that 2 negatives make a positive. So the negative that's sitting in front either goes up or it goes down. And I'll show you when we graph it that it doesn't matter which one of these you use. Sometimes there's an advantage to using one over the other. I'll just show you how to do both. Okay, if you put it upstairs, remember your rise over run. So you're rising a -3, so that means you go down 3. 1, 2, 3. And then run a +2. 1, 2. Down 1, 2, 3, run 2. Now, showing you that it works with this one, it says rise 3. 1, 2, 3. Oops, I didn't mean to put a dot. Rise 3, 1, 2, 3, but this time it's saying go back 2. Run a -2, so that means you go backwards 2. So 1, 2. And notice it's still on the same line, so it doesn't matter which one of these that you're picking. It's going to produce the same line. Right? Jumping over this one, slope is 0. If you want, you can put it over 1 to help you see it. Well, why did the software just go bad? Rise over run. Okay, software, catch up. You're right. Oops, y-intercept of 5. So you're going to go and do a y-intercept of 5. I don't know why the software is being crazy. Rise nothing, rise 0, so you're not going to go up or down, but you can run 1. Run 1. Run 1. That's going to create a horizontal line. So any line that's got a slope of 0 is going to be a horizontal line. Okay, now this one, undefined. Now remember what we talked about yesterday. Referencing this one up here, 0 over 1. Let me try changing colors out of this and see what happens. Now it's going blue. Okay. I don't know about this. Okay, 0 over 1 is 0. Undefined means you've got some number upstairs and you're trying to divide by 0. Whatever that number is, a 7 over 0, a 12 over 0, a -2 over 0. It's not going to matter. You're dividing by 0. The number on top is your rise. The number on the bottom is your run. So in all of these, it doesn't matter how much you're rising, you're not running. That's what this undefined slope tells you. Also, this isn't a y-intercept. There's no B. B is always a y-intercept. It is never going to be an x-intercept. So again, this is your y-axis. This is your x-axis. So when they tell you the x-intercept is 7, you go to your x-intercept and you put a 7. And then an undefined slope means you're rising some number, but you're not running. However much you're rising from there, let's say it's this one, -2. Go down 2, but don't run. It creates a vertical line. All lines that have an undefined slope are going to be vertical, and you're going to have an x-intercept rather than a y-intercept. So this is something you just have to memorize. An undefined slope means that you're rising some number, but you're not running. That creates vertical. A slope is 0 means that it's a horizontal line. It means that you're not rising, but you are running. It doesn't matter what the number is. You can go backwards 3, but you don't rise. Okay? All right, graph the following lines. On the previous page, I wrote y equals mx plus b, where this is your slope and this is your y-intercept. So your slope is -1 and your y-intercept is 1. So you do your y-intercept first and then do your slope of -1. If it helps you seeing it over 1, that's good. Okay? So you go down 1, run 1, down 1, run 1. And that creates this line. Let's try this one next. It's got a fraction. It doesn't really matter for the y-intercept. -5/2. So it's a -2.5. So you go down 2.5, and it's okay that it's sitting at a fraction. And then I'm going to choose -2/3. You could choose 2/3. I'm going to choose this one. Doesn't really make any difference. Okay? So from there, you go down 2, 1, 2, and then run 3. 1, 2, 3. There's your line. Okay. Notice both of these had a negative slope, and both of them were going down to the right. Before I go to this one, I'm going to choose this one. Y is equal to 0x plus 7. You don't have to rewrite this. I'm just doing it to help you see it. The 7 is your y-intercept. Your slope is 0, so it's a horizontal line at 7. All lines with a slope of 0 are horizontal. If it helps you to see it over a number, that's fine. Don't rise, because you're rising 0. Run some number. I chose a 1. Okay? Now, what you need to help you remember this is that if it only has a y, it's only going to cross the y-axis. So likewise, if it only has an x, it's only going to cross the x. So, to clean this up a little bit, your x-intercept is 2. It's only crossing the x. And remember, if it only has an x, its slope is undefined. It's only going to cross the x. So its slope is undefined. It's a vertical line. It's only crossing the x-axis. They cross the axes that they have. This has an x and a y, so it's going to cross both the x and the y. This only has an x, so it's only going to cross the x. If it's only crossing the x, it has to be vertical. If it wasn't vertical, it would end up crossing the y, so it would have both letters. This one only had the y. That's the y-axis. It's going to cross it at 7. And then just remember, this has a slope of 0, because if I pick this point, you're not rising to the next point, but you are running. So let's say 0/2 is 0. This one, your slope is undefined. Because if I went from this point to, say, this point, there was a rise of 4, but a run of 0. You can't divide by 0, so that's undefined. All right? So always start by graphing your y-intercept if you have one, then do your slope. If you don't have a y-intercept, and it's like this, that's your x-intercept. So you go to your x-axis and do it. So y-intercept, then slope. Okay, when it looks like this, there's no number after it. It's in this pattern. So that means the b must be 0. And that's okay to have a y-intercept of 0. If it's your y-axis, and that's a value of 0. Then your slope is -9. So you go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I gotta move the graph, I guess. Down 9/1. And then draw your line. This one, remember, it only has a y. So you go to your y-intercept of 7, and it's going to be a horizontal line. They cross the axes they have. This only has a y, so it's only crossing the y. This only has an x, so it's only crossing the x. So this one's going to be vertical at 2. Remember, the slope of this one is 0, and the slope of this one is undefined. Okay, so when they have an x and a y, you know it's going to cross both axes. To help you see it, if we were to rewrite this looking like this, then you can read the slope and the y-intercept straight out of it. So I'm going to cut the x off of both sides. This is just using PEMDAS that we've been using all in Chapter 1. I'm going to put the 1 there just to help you see it, plus 7. Then I need to get rid of the 2. I'm going to divide everybody by 2. So you have y is equal to negative a half x plus, and to help you graph it, there's nothing wrong with leaving it 7 halves. There really isn't. I'm just going to write 3.5 to help you graph it. The y-intercept is 3.5. So you always start with your y-intercept. Then do a slope of negative a half. I'm going to choose negative 1 over 2. Like I've been saying, you can choose this. I'm just partial to put the negative upstairs, so that's the one I'm going to do. So I'm going to drop 1. I'm going to rise a negative 1. Rising a negative 1 is dropping 1, and then run 2. So I drop 1, run 2. Drop 1, run 2. And that will create your line. Same thing, I'm going to make it in the y-intercept form. Sorry, slope-intercept form, I spoke. So I got to find the slope and the y-intercept. I'm going to do that by cutting the 2x off of both sides. And I've got y is equal to negative 2x plus 1. That's your y-intercept, so I do a y-intercept of 1. I'm going to change color to so it stands out. And then a slope of negative 2. If it helps you to write it over a number, do it. So down 2 over 1. Down 2 over 1. And that creates your line. Alright, I believe that's the last screen. Yep. So remember, graph your y-intercept first if it has one, then your slope. If it helps, put it over a 1 so you can see it better, so you get your rise over your run. If it's not written in slope-intercept form, slope-intercept form, that's the style this is written. Solve for y by using PEMDAS. Get rid of the x's, then get rid of any coefficients on the y to make it look like something in slope-intercept form. So you can graph the y-intercept first, then the slope. Okay, thanks for your time.